God created the sexual differences between men and women to make our relationship more fulfilling and dynamic, not more frustrating. Okay. There are huge differences between men and women. Let me talk about them for just a minute. The key sexual differences in men and women, because if you don't understand this, it really can drive you crazy and make you do certain things I'll talk about in just a minute. But men, sex stimulates our emotions. Men are put in touch with their emotions through sex. If you want your husband to get more in touch with your emotions and his, you meet his needs for sex, because he becomes more emotionally connected through sex. Women are the opposite. Emotion stimulates sex. When a woman is not feeling sexual, the way her husband makes her feel more sexual is not to try to do something necessarily erotic or sexual. When you do housework, by the way, when women are interviewed, one of the most common responses, when is your husband most sexually attractive to you? Number one response, when he's doing housework. And it's true, is that when you are meeting her emotional needs, she becomes more sexual. It's just the way that God created her. Men are very visually responsive sexually. God created us in a way that we like seeing our wives naked, okay? And it's a big deal. I was saying one time in a seminar, I didn't know there was a stand-up comic in the audience, but I was saying one time in a seminar, ladies, there's a place for flannel nightgowns, and this guy yelled out, "The fireplace!" And that's kind of our theory on that, by the way. But women are relationally responsive. Women are very relational as it relates to sex. Men turn on instantly. Women warm up slowly to the idea of sex. Someone said one time, in the world of sex, men are microwave ovens and women are crock pots. And that really is the way it is. Men can turn on instantly just like that. Men are compartmental and women are inclusive. Now this is another huge difference. Men are compartmental. Sex is just a compartment of our lives that's disconnected from everything else. A man can go to work, have the worst day he's ever had in his entire life at work, lose his job, come home, read the paper, Armageddon starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and he says, "Hey, let's have sex." You know, let's relieve a little stress here, hon. Hey, we got about 12 hours on our hands, and it's completely separate events in his life. He can totally enjoy sex. But for a woman, her sexuality is connected to everything in her life. You know, the washer broke, and Tommy made bad grades, and her mother called, and she broke her foot, and the neighbor's cat died, and all of that is a part of her sexuality, you know, and the husband's saying, "Well, I didn't like the cat, and your mother will heal, let's go." And so, anyway, it's just the way that it is. And so if a man's going to have good sex, he has to help his wife navigate all the issues of her life. But a woman needs to understand he's not an insensitive slob just because he can enjoy sex right after the funeral. You know what I mean? It's just the way he was. So men are emotionally modest, women are physically modest. Men are very, very modest about their thoughts and feelings. And that's why we have to have a very special setting to open up and share. Women can share anywhere, anytime, any place with anybody, just about. And you listen to a group of women talking like at a restaurant at a table, it's shocking to a man. It's just shocking. They talk about everything and people and emotions and stuff like that. Men talk about trucks, work, what'd you kill last weekend, all that kind of stuff. We don't talk about stuff like that. But women are very physically modest, and for a woman to enjoy sex, she has to have a very protected environment physically to open up the way that you want her to. And so we're so different. And for a woman, sex is closeness, but for a man, sex is like an event. And women want to have sex to get closer to their husbands. It's a relational thing. But for a man, it's like, oh boy, you know, I mean, the Cowboys at 7 o'clock, you know, sex at 10. You know, it's like, it's just this one other thing in their life. And it's not that it's not relational, but it's just more of an event in their life. And so let me just say, why did God do this crazy thing? I mean, because it's like, why did He make us so different? Let me give you two answers, and I want you to listen to me. A, so you would have to go outside of yourself for fulfillment, because selfishness destroys everything it touches. See, a lot of people want their spouse to be just like them before they'll respond in a positive manner. You're so weird. You're so weird. Everything you do is weird. It's the opposite of the way I think, so how could it be normal? So unless you conform to me, I'm not going to respond to you. That's what kills marriages. Here's what makes marriages. You're different, but you're normal. And I realize to meet your needs, I've got to come outside my comfort zone. And I've got to serve rather than just demand that you're going to conform to me. And so I'm going to come out of my comfort zone and I'm going to respect you and honor you and meet your needs. The only people that reap the fruit of the promised land are people of faith and character. The selfish die in the wilderness. You're never going to make it in marriage until you look at your spouse and say, you're different than me, and I accept you just the way you are. Here's a saying that I like. If both of you are the same, one of you is unnecessary. God just made us different. And literally we put each other in touch with a world that we do not know without each other. I used to think Karen was weird, but now I realize how God blessed me with a person who put me in touch with a different part of the world that I wasn't in touch with before. Here's another reason that God created us the way that He did, is to enable us to fulfill different roles in life. Men are basically very sexual but emotionally detached. Women are not as sexual but very emotionally connected. Now, it's hard in our world today to really understand this. You really have to go back hundreds of years ago. But if you went back 300 or 400 years ago, the average man had to wake up every day and go hunt for a living. I mean, they had to kill things for a living. We had to be able to go kill Bambi's mother and bring her home and eat her. And we had to protect our families. We had to be willing to kill people if necessary to protect our families. Men were created by God to be emotionally detached so that we could protect our families and provide for them. And God made us very sexual, so after we protected and provided, we would keep coming back to our wives. Literally, our sexuality is a magnet that keeps us coming home. You know, without that sexuality, you know, Daniel Boone's out in the forest and he killed Bambi's mother and he can't remember where he's supposed to go afterwards. But that sexuality brings him back home. Why is a woman non-sexual and emotional? She's more non-sexual, so she'll be faithful to him while he's gone. She's not at home thinking about sex all day long. And she's emotional, so she can nurture the family and take care of the emotional needs of the family, and when he comes home, to connect him to the emotions of the family. See, God did this for a reason. That God created us this way so that we have to be people of character and servants to reap the promised land, and so that we can both have different roles in life and provide for those roles in life. So if you reject your spouse because they're different, understand you're rejecting the way God designed them. Listen, the surest way to fail is to try to change an unchangeable. It's like a person building an airplane who doesn't believe in the law of gravity. You're going to fail. When you're building a marriage and you reject the way that God created your spouse, you're just going to fail. We're very different by God's design, and we have to honor those differences.
Thank you for joining us. Partner with Marriage Today and receive the Marriage on the Rock series on CD or DVD. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Marriage Today's latest book, Happy, Happy Love, will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.